All right, all right, all right. Here we are, my friends. Episode 30 with Mr. No Mana himself, Ansem. Man, this guy, he just kind of has been making these really awesome YouTube videos over dexing PvP, which I'm super excited about. And what's even cooler is I had a Dexter tournament just, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I guess a month ago. I don't remember. But he came in and he just wrecked it. He won the whole tournament, man. It was awesome. But Ansem, man, take it away, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the illustrious Pwncast. I still get shit from people from going on the last UO podcast, so that makes me even more excited to be here. I I am Ansem. I just another middle-aged wizard. I've been happily married for a long time. My wife and I have two kids. She has a PhD. She works as a college professor. I also have an advanced degree, and I work in software engineering. We're big into fitness and health, but I am most proud of our kids. They're very gifted, and they are by far my proudest achievement. I spend the vast majority of my time playing with them, teaching them, all that kind of stuff. So that's me.
So when you say teaching them, do you mean teaching them how to PvP in Ultima with the new multiple account house thing, right?
I don't know if I would ever let my kids play this game.
No, right.
No, yeah, we actually don't do technology, believe it or not. So we don't let them do like tablets or they watch very, very minimal TV. So we're big into books. They have a big
Yeah.
library, and that's how we do it.
That's wonderful to hear, man. That's a very big topic that me and my girlfriend talk about quite a bit. Of like, hey, when and if we have children, we are not gonna be the family that you see them, you're sitting out at dinner at a restaurant, and you got the kid that's like screaming, and then they just go, "Do you have the tablet, dear? Give them the tablet. Just give them the tablet." And then they
Right,
get the
right.
tablet, and suddenly the kid's just quiet, right? And
Yeah.
you know, it's. I didn't have a tablet when I was a kid, but I knew how to like be quiet, right? and
Yeah, yeah,
it,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
it is what it is, and I guess people can raise their children how they want, but that's something that I'm serious, man. We have talked in links about that before, and I hold that near and dear to my heart. I think that it just helps a lot more with development of the child and social skills and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
yeah. Yeah, and we believe the same thing for sure, obviously. But I will say, like and you'll find this out if you become a dad. You can't really judge folks for how they do things,
Sure.
even if you disagree with it. Parenting is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's very difficult. And so, everybody kind of navigates it in their own way. So I definitely don't look down on anybody that does. It's just something that we don't do. And yeah, that's our family's decision. So
Yeah, yeah, I like that approach, man. That's good. I mean, you're 100% right. People have been raising their kids their own way for thousands
sure.
of years, man. I'm not going to be the one to teach people how to do it. I don't even have kids, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's good.
yeah,
They're a time suck, man. Let me tell you, that's what I spend the vast majority of my time doing is hanging out with those little guys. So
that's awesome, man. Well, very cool. As far as fitness goes, man, I had a Sweet Man on here early on in the Pwncast, and I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, but he's a freaking mountain, dude. He's a gigantic guy. I always give him crap because I wish he would do like IFBB, some kind of like
yeah, professional
bodybuilding
thing.
competition because he's just got the genetics and the drive and all that stuff, man. He would do great, and who knows, maybe one day he will. So, did
Yeah,
you ever get
that's
into anything
amazing.
like that?
When I was in the military, so I served 10 years in the Navy, and I did like boxing and competitions or whatever at the various bases I was stationed at and stuff, just for like compound lifts, like a lot of big three, deadlift, bench press, squat. And I'm a pretty big guy in general. I'm 6'2", 250. So back then I was probably a little less than that, so maybe like 6'2", 225 or whatever, and had pretty good number, like over 1,000 pounds, 1,100 at one point in all three lifts. But today, I'm older, so I work out every day, and I mostly do a lot of mobility stuff, kettlebells, a lot of calisthenics, plyometrics, stuff like that. So like a lot of push-ups, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of stuff with kettlebells. I threw my back out like a couple of years ago, twisting to like pick up one of my kids or something like that. So ever since then, I've really focused on like strengthening the small muscles in my back, and just making sure I can keep up with them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of more, a lot more mixtures of movements, compound movements, things like that, right? Mobility. So that's
Right.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of mobility stuff. Kettlebells are great, man. Everybody,
Yeah.
like, we travel a lot to visit friends, and every time I do, and I leave, if they don't have kettlebells, I immediately get on Amazon and send kettlebells to their house because they're great. I'm a big
Yeah.
believer in them.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So, as far as gaming goes, man, what got you into gaming? What are like some of the early games that you played or systems, anything like that?
Yeah, I think my folks bought me a Sega Genesis when I was a little kid. And I remember playing, like being like 3 or 4 or something, playing Mortal Kombat and Sonic on that. But like, I think the pivotal moment, my mom, God rest her soul, is actually responsible for me becoming a UO DGen, because when I was a kid, I was maybe like 10 or 12 years old. I worked for some lady on our street for like 3 months one summer, doing a bunch of odd jobs, like trimming her hedges and mowing her lawn and reorganizing her garage and stuff. And the goal was, if I worked for her for this summer, that I was going to get this computer, and it was like a 97 black Toshiba computer. Like, who knows what the specs were at the time. It wasn't much. The thing had a floppy drive, the whole 9 yards. And I remember my mom was on the phone with her, and she's like, "Oh, I completed the jobs and I earned this computer." And she's on the phone with this lady, and she's like, "It can't go on the online, right?" And the lady, told her like, "Well, not without a phone line," which to my mom was like basically gibberish. And so I had already like gone to Radio Shack and purchased the 100-foot phone cord. So when they went to sleep, I ran the phone cord from the kitchen to my room and got online and started gaming. And some of the earliest games I played were the original StarCraft. I think that came out in '98. Counter-Strike 1.3. I can't remember what year that came out. And then Counter-Strike is how I got into Ultima Online. I was in a Counter-Strike clan as a kid, and they started playing UO more and more, and eventually, I checked it out too. So I think we started on OSI Baja, but I was gonna mention this later, but it was UOR. Like, I never played T2A before Outlands, believe it or not. So
Okay. Yeah. Man, StarCraft real big into RTS games. I love them. I wish that they would make a huge comeback, and there'd be some really good ones out there. But man, I log into StarCraft 2 and play a game or so a night. Same with Warcraft 3. I'll play a game or so. I love it, man. I love those
yeah,
games.
they're fantastic, and you know what? Actually, they're great to watch too. So like,
Yeah.
I still watch some of the main streamers like Hearthstone, some of the other ones at night. Like, the matches are great. It's really like real time chess, and I agree. I wish they would come back. I mean, not that they're dead. Like, they're less dead than this game. Like, people still play StarCraft
True.
professionally, and like there's still content around it, and I still play sometimes too.
Yeah, that is true. Talking about dead games, there really isn't. It's surprising this one's still around, especially in the capacity that it is, for sure. And so you started actually on retail UO, is that right?
At the very Yeah, but not for very long. I mean, it was very like towards the very end, and I also didn't play that much. But the OSI server was Baja, but the main thing that we started playing from this Counter Strike clan, we moved over to, because I didn't have the money either. Like, I didn't have access to my dad's credit card at the time or anything else. So I think like a friend bought my first subscription, and then that expired, and then he wasn't wanting to pay for it again, and then so I didn't play for a while, and then we all went to UO Gamers Hybrid, which is like the first shard that I played a lot of. Which is one of the first free, which was like the first free shard, or one of them. I know that the team is the folks that developed the emulator Run UO. and that was their server. So we all played there, and that server had a huge population and stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. That one was, I mean, that was like you said, kind of like the original big one that I played there too. Not very good, right? I never really caught my stride in Ultima until the UO Forever shard, and
Yeah.
ironically that's when I first started using potions. It's something so simple, but I just never really carried them with me, and I never set the macros, and I don't know. And then finally there is when I was like, I should probably use these, and the game got a lot easier all of a sudden, and yeah, but. Yeah, I mean, hybrid was a great server. That was okay. So was hybrid UO gamers, and there was the
Yes.
three.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
there was like demise, right?
Yep. Yep.
Hybrid, and then there was
And
another one, I think.
there was another one. I don't. No one ever played the third one. So people played Demise, and but most people played Hybrid. And I mean that server ran for a long time, and I guess they recently relaunched too. But I didn't play the relaunch. I know some people did. They said it had some issues or something like that. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was okay. Like hybrids where I learned how to play. So I was also not very good when I started there. I think I played a tamer or something, and then played with a few different guilds, and I ended up winning like, hmm, I don't know, like maybe a 7x 1v1 with the halberd and 7x 2v2. But it was towards the very end. I was not very good there, and I wasn't much of a great PvPer either. It wasn't until I talked about this on with Mustache when I did the podcast a while ago, but it wasn't until I went to AOS in 2004, 2005, something like that, and I really, really got into it. I was playing throughout like high school, my pretty much high school or whatever. I had nothing else to do except play, UO, work, and go to school. So, but when I started playing AOS is when I really like got decent as a player and learned how to play the game, and um, played this shard called ABC
Yeah.
UO, which was discoverable because UO Gateway was alphabetical. So this guy was a genius. He put his shard at the top by making it ABC, and yeah, I got it. They had like 4 tournaments a day there, and I had like 943 tournament wins or whatever before I quit playing. So I played there. I quit playing there in 2007 when I went in the military. So
So ABC was the one where it was like unlimited skills. So you could be a GM tamer, GM blacksmith, GM miner,
that's
macer,
right. Yeah. Yeah, it had
everything.
no skill cap, which actually like really made for some interesting gameplay because every single player has healing, has chivalry, has necromancy, has magery. Then later, had ninjutsu and bushido. So really, you have all these skills in your repertoire. So like, yeah, you have a lot of survivability, but you also have like a lot of ways to, you have a lot of ways to earn kill potential too. So it was, I don't know, I liked it a lot. It had a healthy it had a healthy population for a while, not towards the end, and then it had some bad management. And by the time I came back to UO after like a 7 or 8 year break in 2014, 2015 when I started on UO Forever. That shard was like long gone. I mean, it was up still, I think, at that time, but nobody was playing it. I remember logging in, there was like 2 people or something, so I started playing Forever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's kind of hybrid had a real quick nosedive. I remember that it was like it was the one server, and then all of a sudden it just died. Was it? I know there was some kind of weird drama around there, just like UO
Right,
always
right,
tends to
right,
have, right? But
right.
which is unfortunate. But and then forever, for me, I remember going to that server, and that was like the first like server that you could gain experience, right? Like with the
Right.
relics and all that stuff with the tamers and stuff. And man, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, this is peak UO. Like, I love it. And me personally, I was in EQMS, and we just were a bunch of noobs in purple and throwing e-bolts and shit. That was the one spell I knew how to cast. I could target closest and drop, man. I was good at that.
Yeah, they were like the ready of UO Forever. They actually, though, I will say, like Glut. I don't remember if he was the leader at that time or somebody else was, but that guy, he is one of like the all-time legendary Zerg commanders. Like, I'm sure if you were in that guild, like you heard this guy get on the mic on a Friday and like push out a rallying cry. But I mean, to this day, some of the craziest stuff I've ever heard on the internet came out of that guy's mouth. Like he would just he didn't
Yeah.
care. You know,
Yeah.
he didn't care. He would say whatever, you know,
Yep.
and then you were just like kind of, and people were inspired, man. Like people went out and, you know, carried out his will. So kudos to him.
Yeah, it I will say as boys locker room talk as that was, like to the millionth degree, it was some of the most fun I've had playing the game. Just I mean, it was just nonstop debauchery, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Coming from everywhere, and it was just what we did in that Mumble because we used Mumble at the time, right? It was before
Yep, yep.
Discord, and it would just randomly out of nowhere, you'd have him tell everybody, "All right, it's time to pay taxes, everybody. Everybody, meet me at the guild house. Check for 250K for Archerson." And then
Yeah,
Archerson would go and blow it on poker in like 10 seconds,
yeah,
and then he'd
yeah,
cry for more. And then he'd be like, "All right, well, Arch, what song are you gonna sing for us?" And Archerson starts singing Taylor Swift, and
yeah,
we'd have to pay again. And it was a thing where like every once in a while somebody'd be like, "No, man, I ain't paying today," and they'd be like, "All right, state your case. Why are you not?" It was just like
yeah, yeah,
stupid humor, fun. I don't know,
yeah,
man. It was toxic and it was fun, dude.
yeah,
I'm sorry
yeah.
to say.
No, I was there. So like
Yeah.
when Albion Online launched, I wasn't playing games at the time, but I remember playing there, and I got with the EQMS guys. I mean, it wasn't EQMS, it was all UO players. Like all UO players were under like one guild or whatever. But
Yeah,
then
Arch.
it was yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was led by Glut or
Mhm.
Arch or is that the same person? Is Gluttony and Arch the same person?
No, no. So it was
Okay.
it was led by Glut, but the alliance was called Arch, and it was
Oh,
short
that
for
right,
Archers
right,
on.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And then yeah, I just remember like playing and it was the same thing. He was like he would just divide people up into like units and be like, "You five are gonna go out there and mine tier 3 until your eyes bleed and your hands bleed, and I don't care. Like I'm a
Yeah.
fat loser. I'll do it all weekend. Like what do I care? I'll get fired from my job." Like just
Yeah.
whatever he would say. You know what I mean? Talking it was like, and anytime somebody spoke up like, "Well, like I don't want to mine this weekend." He would just go crazy. He would like belittle himself, but like do it to the point where like the person that he was belittling himself for felt stupid. It was really funny.
Yeah, yeah, he's yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it.
Yeah.
Man, it was always he would tell everybody that he was a fat Wendy's manager, and
Yeah,
he was like, "I don't give a
yeah,
fuck,
yeah,
man. I'm a fat
yeah,
Wendy's
yeah,
manager." Like,
yeah. He would, yeah. It's a crazy. I don't even want to repeat what he would say, but
I
he
know,
talked
yeah,
about, yeah, he talked about doing weird stuff,
yeah,
and but it was, yeah, you're right. It was funny. It was fun. I only played that game for
yep.
I don't know, like 3 weeks or something like that. But and then, but yeah, it was
We
funny.
we would have like people getting arguments in the guild, right? I mean, that's just what happens in this game. People get in arguments and be like, "All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna kick you guys both out unless you come into Mumble right now, and we're gonna have court." And he would
Right.
literally get them in Mumble, and they would start talking to each other, and then everybody that was in Mumble was the jury to decide who was in the wrong. It was just so bad. Oh, it was fun though, man. And this is UO forever. So shoot, man. I mean, this is like 2014, 15, 16, something like that, right? I mean, that's 10 years ago. Um,
Sure.
and oh man, good times. And then they got banned, and like you said, went to Albion, and
Yep.
he ended up. Dude, the Arch Alliance. I mean, I don't know where it's at now or where its peak was, but like, there's like 20,000 people in that thing,
There was,
dude.
there was a lot of people, dude. It was crazy. And actually, what I respected about that, you know, the Albion thing and even UO thing is like, like if you run a group like a big Zerg and a group of noobs and shit, and that's all you are, and like you own it, then like no one can really, you know, fuck with you because it's like you're like that. That's what we are. Like we're a big, you know, he'd say all the time, like we're just a bunch of noobs in purple. Like
Yep.
so if you die to us, what does that make you? You know?
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it, you know. So that's why like I always shit on Ready in on Outlands and stuff because like they started out as like a joke kind of. So I don't know. I know you interviewed the GM or whatever. I don't know how he's kind of like a compulsive liar though. So who knows how his story went? But basically, the time when I came over here was around the time the leadership of that guild came over, and we were all in this anarchy guild called S9.
Okay.
And I had left before Piguet came, but I was in it with Toshi, and him and I were pretty much the only two active players in it at the time. Like that guild takes cyclical breaks, so they play for a little while and then they go and do something else, and they come back to it. And they were on this cyclic break, and I was new to Outlands. I wanted to play, so I only stayed in the guild for like a week. Um, Even though that was like kind of the guild that I was with before I quit playing UO in 2016, 2017, something like that. And I was just like, I just wrote them like, hey, like you guys aren't really active, and I kind of want to play the game. We don't know when you guys are coming back, blah, blah, blah. And at the time, it was like, yeah, all good, no hard feelings. And then so Toshi stayed, and then Piguet came over from UO Forever, I guess, and a couple of his friends, maybe Moogie or something, and they trialed to go into Anarchy, but it didn't work out. Like they weren't gonna be allowed to continue. And I was talking to Piguet at this time, and I was like, you should just make your own guild, if you got people coming over, or whatever. And I very much in the early days encouraged them to do that and cheered them on. And he wanted to quit, and they were really having a hard time learning the game and recruiting people and all this stuff. So they ended up going like the route of just taking people's alt characters in and making the guild as big as possible. And I mean, there's like, Discord searchable. There's like years of me being like, Ready's doing great, Ready #1,
Yeah.
And I thought everybody realized like, yeah, like you guys know what you are, like egg it up. But anyway, as time went on for them, a couple years, and some of the other groups that were PvPing, like there was like a guild called Frog that before they fizzled
Frog,
out was
yep.
pretty much all the players from Anarchy and Frog ended up in Frog together. So like the main players were like I guess the leadership was Jen and Chappie, and then Bile and his team came over, and a bunch of good players, like really good group. And Bane pretty much was the counter to that. So like Gray, Domnu, me, few other players, and we pretty much had this like all out war for like, I don't know, 1 to 2 years. Pretty much 2023, 2024 was like the Bane Frog Wars. And so, the big boys would get on, bang it out. SOF was there too for a lot of it. Maybe Bo for a little bit of it. And then, and then Ready was kind of just like the cannon fodder that everybody just kind of beat up while they were fighting each other.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so Frog fizzled out. They moved on. They got tired of it. I can't blame them. Anarchy quit for a little while before coming back for a little bit, and then Bane sort of split off into other groups too. The European cadre of Bane went off to make Core. Some people went off to make another guild, and only some of us stayed behind. So everybody kind of fizzled out. And then Ready, some of these players went to Ready, and they were also just mass recruiting, like every alt, anybody that could. I mean, I guess for as dumb as I think Piguet is, at least he got into everybody's DMs unapologetically and was like, do you need a guild? Join Ready, and eventually they massed up, right? So they have a ton of members now, easily the most members of any guild that PvPs consistently.
Yep.
And but at some point, like he started believing that they were like actually doing it, like they like that these. He's the type of person that touts like, oh, we're winning all these CCCs and DFPs and stuff, and it's like, yeah, because you got the most players. Like it's just a numbers game. You're just going, but it doesn't really translate into like you're the most skilled team, which is fine. But I don't think anybody had any issue with them going out and collecting their points and doing whatever. But then, randomly, he started coming in and talking shit to the people that are out there actually doing the setup PvP or 1v1s, 2v2s, playing the game at a competitive level. And that's when I think he started getting shit on. So I think that was his big problem. I don't think, but I think also like they probably got tired of sitting on gold uncontested with 20 guys and no one really fighting them. I'm sure it's boring as shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe part of that was to come in and try to spark up some PvP drama. I don't really know.
Yeah, I definitely can say that, so there for a while I was doing a lot of flashpoints. I loved them. They were tons of fun. But then as Sin grew more and more, and we got more and more people to do flashpoints with us, it did, man. There were some of those where it was just like 20 of us sitting on the point,
Yeah.
and maybe 4 or 5 people would come in, and we would dominate them, not because we were better. I mean, half the people were AFK, right? and
Right. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and then sometimes that small squad would overtake the big numbers, and we'd actually have to fight, and and try to fight back. And it was embarrassing because sometimes we'd have a shit ton of people, and we're struggling against I think it was C2W at the time. Maybe I could be off on that. There's been a lot of guilds, right? And
Yeah.
eventually it kind of fizzled out, and the core group. And it was always funny because when it was a smaller group, we actually did a lot better than when we did with bigger groups. And honestly, I might be speaking out of place here, because it's not like I was extremely active at every single one, but this is just my own experience, right? So
Sure.
I'm sure somebody in my guild's gonna be like, "Damn it, Pwnstarr, you're wrong," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, well, my bad." But
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
But I would. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, no, 100%, man. I do know that the times that we had a whole bunch of people there, outside of getting the free points, it just wasn't fun. And
Yeah.
it's cool for a little while, but then it's just like, all right, dude, I just don't got the 30 minutes to sit here and, with my thumb up my ass and not do anything for it.
Right. Right. And don't get me wrong. I've said this before. I can't make myself more clear, but it's like saying you're good or bad at UO or whatever, or worried about it, is one of the most like worthless activities you can take place in. It's a game played by less than 3,000 people, and people willing to PvP, in a competitive way, probably less
Even
than
less.
100.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not it's really dumb to be like I'm the best ever, or I'm this, I'm that, but which is fine. But like I say, I think where they fucked up in particular is consistently claiming some sort of dominance or competitive edge or something like that, when really, as you just explained, it's this sort of zerg or run mentality. And here's the thing about UO and PvP in general is, because the population is so small, it's very give and take. Like, you have to be willing to go out there and fight when you have numbers, when you don't have numbers, and that's really the funnest way to fight in UO, is when you have less than your opponents, because you're kind of expecting to lose, but you're trying to make a play, and your opponents are expecting to win. So then when you sort of make a play, it's good. It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
And for the most part, there are some players in Ready maybe that are interested in that sort of gameplay, but the problem is they're led by a guy that's like, a huge wuss. He's like, he won't. I don't even think I've seen the guy without 15 zerglings around him or whatever. He doesn't really know how the game works either. So he, besides saying like load rails, I don't think he has any fundamental understanding of the game, which again is fine, but you can either learn or shut up. So
I will completely agree that it is a lot of fun going up against like impossible odds and somehow making it out alive, with a win
totally,
on that, right? It is,
totally.
I mean, that for me personally, I mean, I really like solo PKing, if I'm streaming and I'm stealing, sometimes people are like, "Can I steal with you?" And I'm just like, I mean, no. I just like doing it solo. That way, if I go into something 1v5 and I come out, then it's like I did something really epic and it's fun.
Yeah.
And then at the flip side, I also don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, well, the only reason you killed us is because you had, 5 people with you. It's like, yeah, that's probably true. Like,
Yeah. Which,
I,
yeah.
I like those crazy antics. Floob, I don't know. You said you came to Outlands around the time,
Yeah.
a little bit later. But
Floob and I are friends in real life, so we were in
oh
a
wow,
guild. Yeah, we were in Power.
yeah,
on UOF. Like there was only like 4 or 5 players in it. It was me, Flube, 2 Australian guys, and this guy Pillman. For a long time. I don't know what it became at the end. I know there's some controversy around this guy Viton who played there and played here. I never
Yeah.
played with the guy. I don't know him. But yeah, no, I still
So
talk to Flube almost every day to this day.
well,
He's
then today when you talk to Floob, man, you tell him that Pwnstarr gets a lot of inspiration from the way that he used to stream, dumping
yeah,
in on just stupid stuff that he has absolutely no chance of surviving, and then
yep,
somehow pulling it off. And I
yeah.
just,
Yeah,
I'd be
he's the best to ever do it.
mesmerized. Yeah, I'd
He's
be
he's the
mesmerized watching
he's
him play.
I'm sure you watched that tribute, which had some clips from his streams or whatever, just like polymorphing into a chicken and somehow fighting 6 guys off on foot. Like I mean, he's one of the best players to ever play the game, if not the best in terms of like being a solo PK or something like that. You know, there's like only a couple players I think that are the best players to ever play this game, and he's one of them.
Yeah.
You know, Bile's one of them. I think you usually ask guests at the end like who should you have on. I mean, who knows if they'll do it or if they're interested or whatever. But I would definitely say try to have one of those 2 guys on there just to get, pick their brain on how they feel about the game, because a guy like Bile too, he's been playing the game the same way for 20 years, and it's like he has a set way he thinks about it and a set way he plays the game, and it's obviously the correct way because he's one of the best players to play. So
Sure. Yeah. No, that would be really cool. Yeah, I feel like the reason Outlands, and I could be off here, right? But the reason they made it to where polymorph goes away when you flag or do an aggression, right? Is because of him. Because most of his streams he'd be polymorphing down there and then PKing somebody, like you said, as a chicken or a random monster, and it's a element of surprise, and I think that some people thought that it was the GM's, Owen and Expo fucking with them or something. I
yeah,
don't know,
right.
maybe, but I could be off, like I said. But I do remember his streams and just always him
Yeah.
being polymorphed. It were just so much fun to watch,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, he was amazing. He yeah, run through dungeons on that rep Talon dude with
Yeah,
10 guys chasing him, not caring. So
yeah.
he yeah, he's a great player. Still is to this day. Still very good.
And old Viton, I used to stock his shelf when I first was over here. I was maining a Macer blacksmith miner, and it was like because back then artisan you could only raise it through killing monsters. It wasn't raised through crafting. It was way
No.
cooler back then, right? So like if you're tier 8 artisan, you were a somebody. Like that was a big deal because you're fighting on a blacksmith. And I was stocking Viton's shelf, and I mean, I was new to the server, dude. I thought I was so cool. I was like, dude, I'm stalking this guy's shelf. He's a badass PK.
Yeah,
It's good stuff. But
for sure.
yeah, so I mean, when you got over to Outlands, I mean, how did you find that? Was it just like
Yeah,
migrating
good
over? Was
question.
it through Mustache or what?
Yeah, no, good question. So I quit playing UO in 2017, and the last server I played was some AOS server called Pestilent. And I quit. I think I was in grad school at the no, I just finished grad school and started working for the company that I work for now. So I've been at the same place for 8 years. And so I quit and started focusing on that. And my wife and I were like traveling the world. I went a lot of places in the Navy, like almost every place in Asia, places in Europe and stuff. So we went back to a lot of. I wanted to take her there and have her experience that. So we spent a lot of that time traveling and just getting out and doing stuff. I mean, we went everywhere. We went to Thailand, Switzerland, you name it, we went there.
Awesome.
And so I didn't play any games at all from 2017. And actually, 2018, I think when Outlands launched, I remember hitting Bile up about it. And to this day, like I have this map that he drew me on how to get from the shelter docks to the shelter dungeon to like start training my character, but
Yeah.
I never did. I never made an account and logged in and played or anything like that, because mainly I was concerned that all these free shards before Outlands were sort of like fly by night. Even the ones that
Yeah.
were around for a long time, hybrid and forever, eventually like fizzled out and went down. And I really got tired of like spending any sort of time whatsoever, investment into these servers only for them to go down. Where I'm like, dude, like if you made a RuneScape account in 2007, like you could still play the same account today. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I just didn't want to waste any more time. So I still didn't play in 2018. And I probably never would have came back to games at all if it weren't for having kids. I had, my first kid, and when he started getting a little bit older, um, past like the baby stage, um, I got bored. Like, they go to bed at like 7, 8 o'clock at night. My wife's tired. She has to get up for work at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So, and I'm more of a night owl. So like he'd go to bed and I had really nothing to do from like 9 o'clock at night to like 11 or something like that. So that's pretty much why I decided to start playing Outlands.
And Ultima's Outlands is it's so easy to just like pick up and play for even 10 minutes and then put right back
Right,
down,
right.
or you can veg out and play literally all day like some people do. I love that about this entire genre is that it's that's how it is. I wish there was other games that it felt natural like it does in Ultima
Yeah,
to
I
play
agree.
for 10 minutes or play for 6 hours.
Yeah.
There just really isn't any of those games like that. I mean, if
Yeah,
there is,
you
I don't
you said
know.
it. You're 100% right. That's why I started. That's why I play it still, because it fits my lifestyle. Like the way I keep it persistent is I chat in the Discord a lot, like, mostly fuck with people in PvP chat. I keep the drama going there, stuff like that. And that's how I kind of stay connected to the game world because I really can only play like, maybe 60 to 90 minutes every couple days or whatever. But, when I log in, people are usually so pissed from me, messing with them or whatever that I'm guaranteed fights. I'm guaranteed that they're gonna focus me. People want to duel me. Stuff like that. Because otherwise, it's kind of tough to get PvP content sometimes. So that's the reason I sort of persist that image or that ongoing drama or whatever. And for the most part, it's usually people crashing out, at their own words. Like I don't ever insult people's real life or try to cross the line in any sort of way. I just tell them they suck at the wizard game, and then if they try to make some statement or whatever, I just pull up the old Discord search feature and I go, is that really what you said? And then
Just like
that sort of thing.
just like the old days with forum posts. You remember
Yeah,
quoting
yeah,
stuff and breaking apart what they said. It was
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There was this guy. I think you thought I was him or something, which I'm kind of not happy about. But it was the Guardian of Ultima guy,
No, no, not
and
him, not him. Definitely
okay,
not.
okay. Never mind then. But I saw some video that he posted up, and he sent me a DM like you're in this, and it's him going over like the 2005 hybrid forms or whatever, going over some flame war that happened, and of course, like I was in there doing exactly what I'm doing today, like breaking things down, yeah, attacking people's weaker points, stupid shit, just trying to just generate drama, I guess. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. No. That's funny. No, that guy would not. Yeah, he's a character.
Yeah, I don't,
He's
he cares a little too much, man.
yeah, something like that. Or he's just trying to stir the pot with, man, this day and age, negativity sells, right? This day and age,
Yep,
negativity
yep,
definitely sells, and
totally.
maybe that's his angle. I guess I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's a diehard fan of a particular server, but he's like, I'm just gonna get on here and bash everything I can and just to generate some fun. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
who
the
who
internet.
knows? It seems like a little bit more, but then again, people think I'm like a guy that lives in my mom's basement and eats fast food. Like I'm not really sure what people think, but I guess you never know until you talk to somebody.
At the end of the day, man, we're all just a bunch of middle-aged dudes playing a 30-year-old wizard game, man.
Yep. Well, yeah, you're 100% right. Middle-aged wizard, dude. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game it's funny because you can, I think me and you kind of share in this way that it's fun to like rile people up a little bit. It's fun to get in there and play this game the way personally I feel that it's meant to be played, and that's kind of, you know, uh, territorial, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but just it's a PvP game, man. At the end of the day, as long as it's a Felucia or however the hell you say it, rule set, it's a PvP game. And
Mhm.
um, you know, even though Outlands in particular has a lot of really cool PVM aspects to it, aspects. That's a
Mhm.
pun right there. But either way, is that it's still a PvP game. And no matter what, at the end of the day, there is going to be a possibility that a red comes and murders you, or a thief steals a skill orb out of your ball or out of your bag. And you have to live with that, no matter how much you hate that. And sometimes people will get extremely upset and wish some really terrible stuff and send you some very interesting DMs
Yeah.
that are like, dude,
No,
I
yeah.
took 4K out of your bag, man. It's a water
Right.
core.
Right.
Get over it, dude. It's
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
And
I've seen some of the DMs, especially from the farmers and stuff. Um, the I will say a couple things. One is that they made it pretty hard to get griefed on this server. Like there's exits everywhere, there's sanctuary dungeons, there's all kind. I mean, everything benefits the farmer. So if you even like use part of your brain and don't depend fully on your JSON script while you're farming, you will probably be fine. And number two is if somebody PKs you or steals your stuff, it is not me. I do not kill miners and tamers or whatever. I have no. It doesn't interest me. I only fight other players that are actively trying to PvP. So like factions or events or dueling or
there you
stuff
go.
like that.
Look at that. That's cool. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I can't say the same, but I can definitely respect that without a doubt.
Yeah.
I love stealing and the whole getting into situations and causing a little bit of chaos, man. I don't know. That's fun for me. I like it when they call the cops and Pass shows up 20 deep and
Yeah.
you
I,
know.
I've so I've heard about some of these things, and trust me, I don't look down on if you want to go, and I can tell that people have a lot of fun PK and are stealing, and there is a force on the server that will call 30 guys in to chase you around or whatever. So I can see how it would be fun. The main thing for me is like, from what I understand, like you have to kill monsters and shit to get your aspect up, and then you need like links and shit because like when I run into a dungeon chasing somebody like I don't know that place by the faction point. There's a dungeon right there. I think it's 16. You go in and like the mobs in there like one shot you pretty much if you're not like level 20 Avatar Airbender or something. So I don't know.
Avatar Airbender, I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it definitely helps, man. It definitely helps. I mean, you can summon an earthy. I guess you can't. You run around on a Dexter, right? So,
I actually, to be fair, I actually play a mage mainly.
okay.
The 2 years I've played here has mostly been archer mage when it was the meta, then swords mage when it changed.
Yep.
It's only been I've actually only had a Dexter for a few months, and I've been playing solo for like 3 months, pretty much in factions, and so it's relatively new.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely aspects and links, dude. They tremendously help. And if somebody says that they don't help, they're lying.
yeah,
The
totally.
the fact that I can run down Shadowspire Cathedral, that first hallway with the gargoyles and stuff, and they hit me for 7, whereas they'd hit other people for like 15, 16, and that's each little
Yeah,
thing, whatever. I mean, that's
yeah,
huge. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and and it's all that kind of PvP is all about mob control and mob placement. I like finding groups of like 5 people and picking at them and getting them to chase me and run them through monsters. That's just my play. I love it. I did it as a thief, and I do it as a PK. I like it when it's me versus 5 people and they all die and I'm looting their bodies, and then it's like, all right, this is all going in the giveaway. Like, I don't know, it's just fun to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's fun gameplay. I don't look down on it at all,
yeah,
especially if you're fighting folks outnumbered. And that seems like the funnest way to play, right? Is when you're running and you have more than one person chasing you, and you're trying to like get around that corner, or put down
yeah,
that wall, and the mobs are pick. I mean, it does seem like a lot of fun. So I definitely don't look down on it. It's just not the way I
sure,
like to play the game, which
yeah.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Yours is more competitive and things like that, which is really cool. So, like, I talked about it at the beginning, but I had this Dexter tournament. Like, I think it was last month. I don't know. Every month I do some kind of event, some kind of contest or what have you. This month is a meme contest, and I think, yeah, last month was the Dexter tournament. I mean, it was a okay turnout. I really didn't expect it to be too much because one, it's PvP, and two, it's Dexter PvP, right? So it's the niche of the niche. But I also was kind of hoping that, it would, let people just kind of carefree jump in there and have fun. And for some, I think it did, but some were pretty hardcore about it. And you came in and rocked it. It was really cool. And you have these videos called No Mana, and it's probably the best name for them because you're literally using no mana.
No
And
mana ever.
it really, what my favorite part about that is that um, Dexters are, if you ask 10 people, are Dexters good at PvP? 9 of them are going to say no. And
That's crazy. That's crazy. The 9 people have no idea how to play the game. There's like
yes,
Dex Dexters are by far and wide like the most powerful template in 1v1 like period on the field, like for a bunch of reasons. Basically, like the person that you're fighting has resources to manage, so they have to manage their mana first and foremost. If you're fighting a mage or whatever the case is, like you have no resource management. You can heal while you're running. I mean, it's hard to play. So I will say there are a lot of bad Dexters. I see it all the time. I kill a lot of them in the No Mana series. Um, People that don't know how to play, but there is an easy way to get good at playing a Dexter, and it's called the arena. And some people like think I'm kidding, or they don't buy it or whatever. But if you go and get good at arena, at mage arena, you can be a good Dexter too, because it teaches you all the things you need to know to play Dexter well. It teaches you weapon timing. It teaches you disrupt cycles. I mean, at all times, whether I'm fighting 1v1, 1v2, 1v3, I'm consciously aware of how much mana my opponent has, like what
yeah.
spells they can use, all that stuff, like what they're every single thing. That's why, it's very hard to beat me on that character because I've done so much arena. So I would definitely recommend anybody looking to play Dexter or get better at the game in general, go down to the arena and start fighting. There's people that duel all the time. There's a guy in my guild named Blaine Cross. He teaches dueling school every Monday at I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern. I hope that's right. You can just ask me if you're not sure, and I can find out for you, or DM him directly, and he'll just train you in general. Like I'll train you. I'll tell you what. Anybody that complains to me, in general, the first thing I try to do is help them, especially if they come to me with a little bit of humility and a DM, or even if they come to me aggressively. Like one of the first things I tell them is like, I'll teach you how to get better at the game. And a lot of times it just ends up like, fuck you, or like, I know what I'm doing, or just like pissed off or whatever. But there are a few people every now and then that are curious. They've died in 3 hits so many times that they want to do better. And sometimes they do. That's how, like Blaine, for example, the guy that teaches dual school now, 5 months ago, he didn't really know how to play, and he wandered into PvP chat, and he called out a guy that turned out to be one of the best duelers on the server, and they went to the field and they fought, and I kind of saw something in his movement though, like something in the way he played. I'm like, this guy might be teachable, and so I reached out to him in a DM because he said like, I'll fight you in the pits, but I want to learn first. So I DM'd him and I'm like, I'll teach you how to play, just like I tell everybody. And over the course of a few months, spent time teaching him how to duel, and he got better and better. And he ends up doing that duel with Supreme, who's one of the best duelers on the server, and goes 2 out of 3 or whatever the case is.
Hmm.
So he lost the set, but it was by 1. It was very close,
Yeah.
And now today he's one of the Blaine is one of the top duelers on the server, and he wins tournaments. He teaches other players. He's very good. He can take 40-50% off pretty much anybody. So it just goes to show you that maybe if when you're feeling frustrated or something, if you kind of go for the approach where you want to learn versus the approach to get angry, then you might get better
Yep.
at the game, and that's what I always try to encourage.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it comes from, in other games PvP is not really much different from PVM, right? I mean, you
Right,
hit your same buttons, and yes, there's people that are very good and they know different ways, but I mean, it's few and far between, and the learning curve for PvP is not as big as it is in Ultima. And honestly, it's not that big. Now, I'm not sitting here coming to you saying that I'm a pro PvPer, because I'm by no means am I, but I've at least taken the time to set up hotkeys, understand that I'm gonna die and I'm gonna lose, and just to try to like learn from what I did wrong, and maybe I could do a little bit better, right? And recognize that,
Yep.
versus just smash my keyboard with
Yeah. Yeah.
attacking the guy and swinging and just hoping that the RNG hits them for one, hits them, and then two, hits them for a big amount of damage. And
Right.
there's just more to it. And not to say that there's a lot, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is Ultima, so it's an archaic game,
Yeah.
and there is a skill ceiling there, which is pretty high.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Number one, the most important thing is having a learner's mentality. Wanting to get better, thinking about the mistakes you made or where you can improve. Like if you can do that, you're better than 90% of anybody that ever fights in this game. And number two is you're right. There's levels to it, but it's also like a cooked game. Like there's one correct way to play in any situation, and the person who does that better. Is usually the person that's going to come out on top. There is RNG in this game, but for the most part, good players know where that variance is and can take advantage of it. That's why the same players win all the dual tournaments and stuff like that. Like there's not, you know what I mean? It's not like anybody that knows how to explode E-bolt can show up to a tournament and get past the first round. So
Right.
it just goes to
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. I'll get this comment every once in a while on my YouTube channels, and they're like, "Oh man, overgeared, overgeared." And it's like, well, it's not really like that, but okay, it's a different game. Whereas because of the interrupts, because of like what you said earlier, the mana management, knowing how much each spell cast is, and finite resources as a mage versus infinite resources as a Dexter. I think a lot of people will either a typical Dexter gets engaged in PvP. They're either instantly running or they decide to fight. If they decide to fight, typically what happens is they just full on rush the mage and just start swinging and hope that they get their auto disarm, their auto hamstring, and they don't miss anything, and it interrupts whatever spells they
right.
cast.
Right.
Unfortunately, they get the benefit of being able to, like what you said, off screen while their heal's going, all kinds of stuff that a mage, man, the second I blow through my mana, I'm running. I'm running,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
I'm hoping that I can
yeah,
find a place to hide or get out, because there
yeah,
ain't no
yeah.
coming back.
Yeah, I mean, you have nothing else to do. I wouldn't even recommend really like fighting Dexters on this server as a mage, just because like the odds aren't in your favor. I mean, you might be able to. It's so there's the thing is the mana is so little that, and you see this all the time. There's no catch either, so all you can really do as a mage is dump your mana, and then you have to run. Like you can't stand there and heal. You have no stun. You have really one chance to get your burst off, whether you're Alki or whether you're
Yeah.
swords or whatever. It's not fun, and it's one of the things that they really need to like look at improving in this game. I don't even like really when I play my mage solo. If like, I'm not gonna fight a Dexter because it's it's pointless. I mean, it really is. As somebody that plays both, it's really, and you might get a combo off, but other than that, it's like it's not fun. You're just gonna, you know what I mean? It's
I
not a great matchup.
I would argue that only to say that most people will literally either just instantly run or charge in. They aren't
Sure.
playing tactfully like what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, yes, there is, and those Dexers, dude, they beat my ass. I'm not even gonna lie,
Mhm.
they beat my ass every single time. They come in, they whack with the big weapon at first, switch to another weapon. The second they
Yeah.
see Explo going off, they're off screening. There goes 20 of my mana right there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then
No, no, totally.
and they've got a heal going, so then they come back full life, hit me again, switch to the other. It's this same thing,
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
it's
with that. That is exactly the way you're supposed to play a Dexter, but people just
yeah.
do not do that. Instead, they rush in and then they get mad and say,
I see what you're
Dexter
saying.
suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That you're exactly right. So they just don't know how to play the game, and the thing is that mages need on this server is some sort of catch or some sort of punishment to encourage someone to stay on screen. And they added that in later games. Like I don't know how late of UO versions that you played, but like with Samurai Empire, you have Death Strike and stuff like that. So these are things that like where you hit your Explo and you hit a Death Strike, if they take so many steps away from you, they take 45 damage. So
Oh,
like that you have to
wow.
play you have to play around that consideration and stuff like that. Or
Yeah.
you have actual other tools, right, to make it like bad for somebody to leave your screen or like leave the area around you. So then they have to like take that risk.
What do you think would happen if tomorrow, or whenever, next expansion, they were like, we're introducing Bushido? Like, and it was a PvP thing, right? And isn't that what
Yeah.
Bushido, that where the Death
Yeah,
Strike
yeah,
was?
yeah.
Yeah.
Bushido's no, well,
Yeah.
Death Strike was in ninjutsu, but
Okay,
it's
ninjutsu.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
but Bushido had cool stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be me personally, I would be over the moon about. I'd be like,
Yeah.
this is great. I would be super happy because, the only PvP change that I've seen since I've been on this server, so a few years now, is they changed archery insta hit and they upped damage a little bit, which was a good change. Like insta hit archery was stupid. It was this gameplay where everybody ran around. It was load rails, and then it was like you dropped your rail and you shot your bow,
Yeah.
and that was the entire thing. It sucked bad,
Yep. Yeah,
and it got
I
a
killed a
yeah
lot of people on Tila. That was what I
yeah
did. Yep.
yeah
Yep.
yeah. So it got a little better when they got rid of that. But the problem is now, I think there's a lot of problems now, but one of the biggest problems is I think Alki does way too much damage.
Yeah.
I don't know why an explosion pot that doesn't need to be timed or can't miss does 40 damage. That it's way too much. You have people that play these Alki mages that all they do is they sit there and they just heal, and then they try to get their combo off, and if it fails they run and then they
Yep.
try again, and it sucks. There's no punishing it. There's no there's no counterplay to it. It's just a really bad gameplay loop. The solo reds are the worst about it. It's really anti-fun to play against. It's really anti-fun to play. You're really just trying to explosion, explode pot, flame strike, rope, EB or something. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's not good. So
I
I would love to see more diversity.
that's mostly what I do lately, and you're right. It's I've said it many times. I'm like, I think it's crazy overpowered alchemy. Um, the alchemy codex works, right? So if I'm running a group of people through Aegis 4, and the bleeds there are like astronomical, right? And I get a bleed on me, I just panacea it off, and then the bleed's reduced. Like I think it's like 75%, something ridiculous, right? Whereas those guys, unless they have the alchemy codex, they aren't getting that. And I don't,
Right.
and it is on par with. And K-Web made this point on stream the other day when I brought it up, and it's fair, right? But it is on par with your aspects don't go away when you flag anymore in PvP against monsters, and they made that go in because you could go up to a guild that's doing a boss and have one person just magic arrow every single person in the opposite guild, and then all of a sudden they're all just like weak against the boss, and they all just they're noodles and they die, right? And that was what taking over bosses was: send one person
Right.
in, flag everybody, get out, and then rush in. But it is interesting, and the reason I asked you that is because you're in the know with the PvP community. Like you said, you're in the PvP Discord all the time. You're friends with Bane and Frog, and not so much Ready, but maybe some people in Ready, and just different guilds, right? And so I think that one of the reasons that PvP hasn't really changed on this server is just because so many people are just into the whole T2A era of PvP, and they don't want it to change. And I think that Owen, Luthien, whoever it is just afraid to make that change in fear of losing what little PvP community there is here. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Okay.
the case. I think because if you look at, for example, like the PVM side of things, like this game doesn't even resemble like PVM of
Right.
what T2A was or any other thing, and it's way better, right? Like the
Hmm.
PVM system, I don't do it, but I have seen it, and from what I see, it's very robust, very in depth. You have these
Hmm.
aspects, these links, these codexes, min-max. Like people spend all their waking hours, some people doing it, so
Yeah.
it's very robust, it's very good, it's very in depth, and I don't think that's not the reason they changed PvP. I think it's
Okay.
truly because every change they've tried to make in the past has been, and a lot of PvPers are like the truly like the biggest troglodyte, sweaty nerds, like nothing else to do but crash out and go crazy on people, and that's what they do. So they change something for them, and I think they just go unhinged in these guys' DMs and the channels, and they just bitch and bitch and bitch.
Yeah.
And I think they just don't care because there's only it's a small subset of the community. Like if you're running a 3,000 player server, like, and the changes that you make for, not only the people that donate but the people that want to play it, and like yourself that put out content and are a positive impact on the community, are more responsive to like ocean changes or PVM changes, and then you have like 30 troglodytes that just come unglued anytime you try to do anything for them. Like what
Yeah.
are you going to focus on, so I think that is 100% the reason why. I think they back when they made that other PvP change where they switched off archery, um, they also listened to some other feedback where we said remove bars. So there was no bars in faction or event PvP for 5 days. And it was like, it was some of the, it was the funnest 5 days of PvP I've had on the server. People had to grab bars on the fly. So it wasn't like, with the problem right now with PvP, group PvP, is you have a bunch of people that we call them WAS turrets. That's why my name's WAS Final Boss, because
Yeah.
it's a joke on people that use WAS. But they basically run around with their arrow keys, WASD.
Yeah.
They load an e-bolt and then they hover it in a figure eight over a stack of bars that are, grouped by guild and alphabetized. And then when their caller says the name, they click the bar. It's like the most brain dead, shitty PvP of all. I mean, pretty much like the only thing worse, right, is maybe target closest. It's
Yeah.
bad. Okay. And so when they removed bars, it was so fun because like groups were clashing into each other and it was mayhem, right? Because people are scrambling to try to pull the bar off the player sprite or do whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it was great, but like a lot of people couldn't handle it because they're these new age UO players where they've come back or they started here, they haven't played UO before, and they just accepted that like if I can't WASD around and click a bar, like it's uh I don't know, it's breaking to like my workflow, to my gameplay loop. So
Yeah, when I had first came to the server, and it was like 6 months or so after it launched. I wasn't one of the first guys on here or anything like that. It might have been a little bit longer than that, maybe a year or something. I don't. It doesn't matter. But anyways, town struggles were far less coordinated. Now you go in, you guys, they jump into the Discord on the general thing, right? And you already know who's calling,
right,
beforehand, and
right.
everybody bands together. Back then, it was not so much like that. Yes, there was some coordination, mostly between guilds and stuff like that, and smaller things, right? But it was I loved it because it wouldn't be uncommon for you to have like a 1v1 against somebody up by the Prev Casino, just
Right,
randomly,
right,
way away from a
right.
point, but you're just having a 1v1. Then all of a sudden, the horde shows up and they
Yeah.
kill one of you
The
guys.
thing
But it was much
and think
more like on a whim PvP, and I miss some of that where even like in 3v3s or 4v2s where it wasn't particularly calling a target. In some cases it was, but you'd have these little one-on-ones in the big fights, and I miss that sometimes.
Dude, I miss all of that, and I think anybody that likes PvP in this game misses that. So,
Yeah.
if you think back to like your funnest times when you first started playing this game as a kid or as a teenager or whatever it is, like the funnest times is when you were running around doing something and one guy showed up and you started fighting and then maybe another guy, and it was so random and chaotic. Like that's the fun of this game.
Yeah.
There's the fun of this game is not like I show up with my 5 or my 10 and you show up with your 10 and we see who can click the bars better. Like that shit sucks. The
Yep.
fun of this game truly, so like the true problem, and there's no fixing this, which is why like this game's cooked anyway, but is voice chat. Voice chat ruined this game.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, I think, ever a game designed to be have like millisecond coordination and stuff like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
kind of
No, they were just
it
happy
kind of
that they could connect and play it together.
right. No, totally. So it ruined the game, and I think like some of the funnest content I do. I mean, I would love if they made it to where so they might be able to do this now, and I don't know if they'd ever change this. Oh, and if you, I know you're not listening, but if you are, um, like make it so they have this thing now where they link the Outlands ID to the Discord thing. Have you seen that?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So how cool would it be if they made it to where you had to be in a Town Struggle channel and you had to be on mute if you wanted to play Town Struggle, and then that way you sort of guaranteed that everybody was in your Town Struggle was muted and everybody was playing with no voice comms, and it was just pure chaos. You know, everybody
Yeah.
running around trying to kill each other, trying to play off each other. Like that to me
Typing shit
seemed
in the party. That'd be
yeah,
cool,
yeah,
man. Yeah, yeah.
or whatever. I mean, the
Yeah.
problem is nerds would abuse it, right? You'd
Oh
have
yeah.
nerds spinning up a second Discord, and even though that they were in the first one muted, they'd be in the second one coordinating. Like
Yep.
people will do anything to cheat at this game. So
Yeah.
there are people on this server that have cheated in the past or have cheated in UO, and it's like it really ruins the game. So voice comms ruins the game, cheating ruins the game, and
Yeah.
I really hate both of it. So
Oh, I mean, I've been into great links of conversation about exactly what you just said, even to the point of hating people like myself, for creating this game, any game really, where so many people will watch every single YouTube video over how to level your character, how to kill the first boss, how to do anything in the entire game
yes,
before they even buy the game, before they get there, before they try,
yeah,
all this stuff. And it's created this. I honestly believe that wikis and YouTube guides and that entire thing has one, it's definitely helped bring attention to the genre. I'm not going to disagree with that. But two is that it has ruined the genre completely to the
yeah,
fact that everybody has to make everything literally the best, and then everything else
yep,
just apparently sucks. And if
yep,
you aren't playing 100% the best, then you are doing it completely wrong and you're a fucking idiot. And I
yeah.
hate that
I
culture, man. I
dude,
hate it.
yeah, I'm right there with you. I hate the min-max culture. It turned me off of games like Path of Exile and other things where and it's like you can't help but fall into that cycle, right? Like you start a new game, let's say somebody comes to Outlands for the first time or Path for the first time, and I mean, like what do? They type in like best build for boss killing or best build for PVM, and then your content comes up more than likely, and it's good content. There's nothing wrong with it, but then
Sure.
it does perpetuate that environment where it's like this is the only way to do it, and it's like and there's nothing wrong with that either, but the thing is like before YouTube and before wikis and stuff, like people had to figure this out on their
Yeah.
own. So then like you saw one guy running around just like cooking shit up, and you were like, whoa, like that's so
Yeah.
cool, like how's this guy doing it? And maybe he shared, maybe he didn't, and you had to kind of figure it out to replicate. Like that's the fun in games in general. So when you
Yeah.
have a cracked game like UO where everything's min max, and people have spreadsheets and websites and stuff that figure all this shit out how to get, it's like it's
Yeah.
crazy, man. It really is.
Yeah,
So
you don't get that anymore. I can remember I played a lot of EverQuest. Did you ever play EverQuest?
never played EverQuest.
It's good that you didn't. But it was, I'd see somebody and it's the exact same thing. They're just like dominating these monsters, and their whatever chest plate they have on just looked cool, and I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand too much at the time for the game, and same with Ultima. Just going out and killing ogres in the wilderness of Vesper. And was that the best thing I could be doing? Hell no, it wasn't. But you know
It's
what? I was having so much fun doing it. And I can remember
right.
when my dad showed me how to cast blade spirits behind the table in Dungeon Wrong to the ogre lords. And that's how we were going to get Lord, because
Right.
we wanted the Lord
Right.
title. And
Right.
the only reason I found that out was because somebody told my dad, and my dad told me. And
Right.
then me and my friend Beltane were there casting it over and over and doing that. And it that was how I found it out. It wasn't because
Yeah.
of a wiki or stumbling across a YouTube video. saying like,
Yep.
"Get Lord now." Like,
Yeah, right. No, dude, I can't. I'm so passionate about this. It's so funny
yeah,
that you brought it up. I'm the same way.
yeah,
So, like, it's the main reason I hate World of Warcraft. Like, I played WoW when it first came out, and then up through Wrath of the Lich King or whatever. I was actually deployed. I played this when I was in the
mhm,
military, and I hated like that they had these sites and shit that like had best in slot, right? You like
yeah,
had to get all your
oh
best
yeah,
in slot items, so you had to
yeah,
farm this stupid ass dungeon, run it 100 times until you got the drop and you got the roll. It's the worst gameplay ever. I hate it.
yeah,
And I used to play RuneScape when I was a kid. I was like played the original, the classic one, and then when the 2D one or the 3D one came out or whatever. And I remember like being in high school in computer class or whatever, and I had I was just scheming all day long like how to make this money, and it was like for sure not the optimal way. But you go and
yeah,
fish up the lobsters, and then you'd cook them, and then you'd go down to the little market square or whatever, and you'd sell them. And I thought I was making so much money selling
yeah,
these lobsters, dude. Like
yeah,
like you wouldn't believe. And then, but now, if you try to go back to the game, they have like money making guides, gold per
yeah,
hour, what you can expect, variation, and it takes all the fun out of the game for me. That's why I don't PVM here. Number one,
yeah,
I don't PVM because it doesn't make your character stronger in PvP. Like that's first and foremost. But the other reason I don't PVM is the min-max aspect of it. I don't like, and it's all cracked and stuff like that. But like, if you play AOS, if you ever play AOS or any other version of Ultima Online where they have items, um, I don't really like artifacts, but that's kind of part of it. But you're always out there farming to get better pieces of gear, right? Like you're
yeah,
always trying to improve your suit, and that's what makes the game fun and exciting because you have a reason to be like you have to go and try to improve your suit all the time because that's what everybody else is doing. So people are out there farming, and then people show up to contest those spots, and then a fight breaks out. Like it's a lot more organic PvP, and you have to do it. To progress your character in PvP, you have to PVM. There's no getting around it. You can't not do it. So that's
sure.
that's what makes it kind of fun. Whereas
I
here, go ahead.
I played AOS and I both liked and hated that. Just for the simple reason of kind of like what I talked about earlier, where in World of Warcraft the biggest thing is what's your item level, and that most of the time is going to win the PvP fight. And it was very similar with some nuances in AOS, right? Just like what you said. If my faster casting recovery is better, you know what I mean? Like there's a pretty good chance I'm going to be able to interrupt you and do a lot better. Versus here, man, shit, I can have tier 15 whatever and 40 links that are all damage resistance, and it's not doing a damn thing for me against you except for if there's monsters there, right? And I like that, but I also see what you're talking about where it creates a lot more organic PvP. Here, man, people just get so bent out of shape in PvP over absolutely nothing, and it's it's interesting to me, without a doubt. And I do sometimes wish there was something that tied it in, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that gear isn't anything that matters
Yeah,
here because of
yeah,
that.
yeah. Good point. I mean, I just want a reason for to do it, right? Because or to PK or something. Like I would for
Yeah,
sure PK if like killing people actually could improve, like make my character stronger. Whereas what it does is improve your character to get loot. And there's like you can
yeah,
already make all kinds of money PPing. So I don't know. I just
yeah. What's
like.
an arena clock selling for right now?
Yeah, probably like
Like,
900K per or so, and
yeah,
yeah, I think if you win 2 rounds, it's like a mil. So,
yeah,
um, yes, yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, so it's actually worth saying though, like I've never, I have spent some arena points for sure. I have like maybe 1,000 today, but um, I have never spent any of the faction points. Like I got all this like hundreds of thousands of faction silver, PvP event reward points. I've never spent any points on anything. I still have them all.
wow,
That's
wow.
just it goes to show you like how much I care, because the only thing you can buy with them is clothing or decoration items, and
Yeah.
I don't care about either of those things. So yeah, I don't.
I I will say I think, and I mean again, different people like different things, but I do think that you would enjoy, like the whole taking a boss from Ready, right? I mean, you started off this kind of going at Ready's throat, right? And then imagine you and, 5 of your friends or 2 or 3 or whatever going in when Ready's doing a boss and just taking it from him, right? And I mean, that right there might be a motivation to PVM. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because you're right. You said it earlier. Outlands does have a really robust PVM scene. I love it. I have never found myself able to do PVM in Ultima Online for more than like 10 minutes, right? Like one bank run. And then I'm like, all right, well, that was fun. But here, I mean, I've somehow managed to hit 30 links and no red line. But, like I've somehow done that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's been fun. I'm not one of the people that can sit there and farm for 6, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. That's not me at all.
Sure.
I can do it for an hour or two, and then I'm like, oh, that was cool, But
Yeah.
let's click over to my Thief Echo and have some fun. I think that the guild versus guild aspect to it makes it a lot of fun too. That like because you
It
have
looks
rival
like fun.
guilds. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like fun content. Like I do know that when the Wildlands came out, I know that like Frog, they raided a bunch of the wilderness
Oh
bosses and they
yeah,
did
they
stuff
did.
like that. It it looked like okay content. It's just not something I'm into. And
Sure.
to be clear, like I've got no like real beef with Ready at all. Nothing they do really affects the way I play the game or go about anything. I mostly just laugh because of all the shit talk where it's like, but being unwilling to fight. I think that's the worst thing for UO PvP in general. Like it's cool to talk shit, it's cool to do whatever else. But then like if it's going to result in less PvP, then it's bad. So that's my only qualms with them. I also think that they have some people in the guild that aren't so great, and especially Piguet. And I think that if they would just fight a little bit more and kind of the best thing you can do, honestly, for this game and for yourself is just accept that, like, treat it like Dark Souls. Accept that it's a video game and you're going to die in it, and dying's part of the game, and everybody dies, me included.
Yep.
People kill me all the time. I die in funny ways. Like, you got to be able to laugh.
Yep.
If you die and your first reaction in this game isn't to laugh, like, you're probably not playing the right game.
I would agree with that 100%, 120%. I don't know the maximum amount because, yeah, you're gonna die, and there's absolutely no reason to get upset at it at all
Yeah.
because what are you losing? The only thing that happens is your screen turns gray. Like
Yeah, it costs you nothing. Like
yeah,
it drives me crazy, man. Like when people, the crazy thing is like people die in whatever way you die, right? Whether 20 people ganked you or a guy got lucky or it's this and that. Like I see people get DMs, obviously if you make any sort of like weird insult, you're way over the line, and you're probably not a, well-adjusted person. But I see other DMs where, people just go off and off and off and like, you suck and this and that. And it's like, I have never, ever DM'd anybody after dying to tell them anything except for like, good job, or like laugh at it with them, like it's funny.
yeah. I don't
It's just,
really know
yeah,
what it is they're trying to accomplish there. Like what do
I
you
don't either.
it,
Yeah.
like it you called me a chode. Like, am I supposed to be like, ah, shit, man? Yep, you got me. I was
Yeah.
wrong there. I don't I don't
I don't get it.
understand what the end thing is.
When somebody comes into PvP and they complain about like a guy that killed them or whatever, he got lucky and this and that. A lot of times what I do is change my display name to whatever person they're complaining about, and then just start talking shit to him. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. That is a good. I love it. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
It
ultimate.
it it, rare, it rarely ever amounts to anything, because like the first thing I'll do, if they're like, you and your boyfriend killed me down there and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, yeah, like, oh, like you couldn't see me in the arena, like come down here or I'll meet you wherever you. They never want to fight. They just want to, they just want to complain, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're just
Yeah, they're just venting,
yeah.
which is cool. I get it.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the PvP events go, I mean, your factions and duels, is that mostly what you do? Or, I mean, tell me about
Well,
it.
well, when PvP events were more competitive, like when they were they were 4-way for like a couple years. There was Bane, Frog, SOF, Bow, and these are all like pretty good sized guilds. So I think people were like bringing on average 15. Um, Sometimes more, sometimes less with randoms. But like, you know, um, there is a bot that Anarchy has that records all the scoreboards of every Corpse Creek. It's a little much for me, but they do it. But I think like total guys in the creek on prime time. So like every night at 7, 8 Eastern, we're talking like 100 to 110 players a night, and it's competitive. It's 4-way, and Bane won some, Frog won some, SOF won some, and Bo won some. Whoever the guilds were in there, but it was competitive and it was fun.
Yeah.
And Bane and Frog had a big rivalry and good players on both sides. But and the shit talk was great. It was like it was clever. The players talking shit were actually good. Um, People were generating like meme content and funny things and making fun of each other, and then it also resulted though in even fights. Like a lot of even fights came out of the Bane Frog Wars. There was like a lot of 5v5s, a lot of 3v3s, 3v4s, and Bane won some, Frog won some, but it was good competitive PvP. Whereas now, the problem with Ready is like they're sitting at these events which don't have a whole lot of competition, or if somebody does bring a force that is close to what they have, they either get smoked or they leave. So it's like not fun. And then it's like when you challenge them to whatever type of fight, like they won't even show up. Like so, Piguet picked so he avoided. He talked shit for a long time, but like wouldn't field the team for an even fight, 5v5. And this is for like 2 years probably. And then I told him that he could pick my team, which is like kind of a joke. Like, why, if you, you know what I mean? Like, if you aren't willing to fight somebody, like, to me, it's not, it's like, pick my team. It's not really meant to be taken serious, but he accepted. So for like 12 hours one Friday, we had to go through like each player from my guild that hadn't been active in like 2 weeks or whatever. And I'm sitting here trying to get a hold of these people because it's the only way he would fight. So I finally get a hold of all 4 players that he handpicked, right?
Hmm.
And we all show up to the creek. A bunch of people from the server came there to watch, and this motherfucker didn't even show up, dude.
I think,
Yeah.
did I see the screenshot of this? And like
Yeah.
people are sitting at the wall
Yes,
of it.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, I think like my guild, I think my guild gave up hope that day. They were just like, these guys, like, it's so like, why are we even? I know at least 2 people were like, I don't even know what we're logging in for, dude. If like this guy is handpicking our team and we still can't get a fight. So I think maybe that might have been really we haven't played events or anything since then because like most of us are just over it. And me personally, I'm having way more fun, logging in for my 60 minutes a day, playing a Dexter, fighting, either 1v1 or outnumbered or whatever the case is, and, making UO content. Like that's been way more fun for me lately. So that's what I've been doing
Yeah,
for a few months.
dude, I've really been enjoying those. It
Thank
it
you.
it really has been a big topic on my channel of during streams of exactly what we talked about earlier about how uh, people just are just constantly saying how bad Dexters are at PvP, and I'm like, well, and we have that same conversation that me and you had 20 minutes ago or what have you, and now that you've been making content, I'm like, check out this guy. He'll prove to you. And the most thing they can say is like, yeah, well, he's really good. Well, he just knows how to play the game, man. He's not just nose
Right,
diving, right? I mean,
right,
it's
right. There
that.
is, well, first of all, thank you for that. And there is definitely a way to play the game, and Dexters are good. And I'm glad that you can point. What I will say is, I think there is some effect because when I first started dexing, there was nobody dexing. Like
Hmm.
not many people doing it. This is a few months ago, around the time No Mana One came out, and now I feel like everybody's playing a Dexter. So I
Yeah.
think people are watching the videos, and I think people, they see me killing people, chopping them in half, 1v2, 1v3, and
Yep.
they're like, holy shit. So at least they're seeing the potential. Now, is it easily replicable? No, but there's a path, right? Like I would say, anybody that's wanting to play a Dexter well, like you go down the arena, it's pretty much free. You don't even have to train skills. There's people down there that will duel you, and like you will get better at the game. You're gonna die a lot. It's like Dark Souls. You're gonna die. Everybody's gonna kill you, but you will get better at the game, and eventually, you're gonna come out and be able to chop people up too.
Yeah.
So it's just like anything else. It takes reps.
Are you planning on streaming, doing any other forms of content? You just gonna keep doing No Mana 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up, or what?
Yeah, I talked to you a little bit about this before, and I say this with all due respect to you because you've earned it, and what you've done with your community is amazing. All the constant content, the tournaments, the giveaways, the contests. My hat goes off to you. So well done. I
Thanks, man.
respect you for that a lot. And but I think that UO content in general, you make it for the love of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
At least I do. I say this, and I hope it doesn't offend you, but I think it is the worst spectator game ever possibly created. I mean, even
Hmm.
RuneScape's more interesting to watch. Like I play the game, and I sincerely dislike watching most UO content.
Sure.
It can be fun to play, but it sucks to watch. I think you do a good job because your content for me is largely based on you. It's not really based on the game. I think people are watching you for your personality and for the fun things you do in the giveaway. Like I even watch, and I'm like this guy's like having fun, and people are having fun, and it's a community. Like you've built a community.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And it's not really about the game. So for me, no, I'm not planning on doing anything. I've been making UO videos for a long time. If you look at my channel, it goes all the way back to I don't know, maybe 2010 or something like that. And the quality and the production's improved over time. But I just make YouTube videos, the gameplay. I mostly do them for me. It's fun to post. It's fun to go back and look at them. And I don't have any plans on expanding on content creation outside of that. I don't have the time or the will. And I also don't know. Like I don't think there's going to be another Pwnstarr in the UO space. So I think you've got it locked down, man.
It's, I don't know, man. I mean, there's some really good creators out there for sure. I will 100% agree with you that UO is a very difficult game to stream, and be entertaining. I do feel like I you go into a streamer's chat and watch them stream. A lot of times you go back because you are enjoying that person or what have you. Um, you know, yes, there is some people out there that are like doing super high end PVM content, and people want to watch that. You got people that are PvPing, and people want to watch that. You got people that are just sitting there and they know every percentage of every weapon and every aspect, and they're answering every single question there is out there. And some people want to watch that, but I think that also can be said in just about every game. Um,
Sure.
I I have Twitch up most of the time, and I jump around on streams just pretty constantly because it's like it's not the game so much that I'm watching, unless it's a game that I'm thinking about buying, right? And I'm like, well, I want
Right.
to watch somebody play it a little bit. But I could agree with that. I will tell you, the worst game to ever watch stream is a game called EverQuest that I talked about earlier. Um,
Yeah, no, I've seen EverQuest. I've actually like when I was a kid and people were playing it. I've watched it over the shoulder, and it looks boring as shit when people are sitting
yeah,
there and they're buffing and they're doing this. It does look like a boring game to observe. So
yeah.
maybe you got that one.
Yeah, I it's funny because um, the game itself it's good in its own way, but it's definitely, people swear up and down that the only reason we play Ultima is because of nostalgia, and I'm not part of it is, yeah, without a doubt. But there are people that are new to this game and do very well and enjoy it tremendously. EverQuest, on the other hand, for me, is 100% nostalgia when I play that game. It's just, that's exactly what it is because it is slow as can be, but it is what it is. So,
Sure, gotcha.
um, but yeah, definitely some really good creators in this space. So no chance of you streaming duels
Oh,
or
I
tournaments or
I mean, if people have an interest, I'm not I'm not against it. I just I'm happy to. Sometimes like I turn on the Discord stream in my
yeah,
guild chat when I play or whatever, and maybe some people watch that.
yeah.
I'm not against sending it to Twitch or whatever, but it's just like it's just additional overhead, I guess. But if people have an interest, then sure.
Yeah, I think people would like that quite a bit. You know, Red Eye has reached out to me a few times, and he was like, "Yeah, man, come." And he even sent me Blaine's, how to PvP guide, and he's told me
Nice.
come on out on Mondays, and I think I will soon. But anyways, he I I want to eventually jump into the Saturday tournaments, right? Because it starts like 30 minutes after my stream starts on Whiskey Saturdays, and what better way to start a Whiskey Saturday than a tournament every Saturday, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that'd be
that
fun.
I think that's great, and I think you should, and I think it'll make you better at everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
And I'm happy to help you personally with that. I know Blaine, all he likes to do is train people how to duel now too. So,
yeah.
Blaine and I will help you out too for sure.
He's sitting right here with us, and he's just been
Yeah,
dueling random people, and what I'd like,
cooking
and
them up.
yeah, and I can definitely tell. You think of like PvPers and stuff like that, and you look in the PvP chat. Let's be honest, and you're like, these guys are a bunch of dicks. Like, and it's a little intimidating. I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I think a lot of people are kind of scared of that community just because it's intimidating. And I'm not trying to white knight and say like you guys should really cool it in there. No, fuck that. It's PvP, dude. Like let's talk shit, right? But
Sure.
I will say, sitting here in the arena and just the amount of people that have reached out and been like, dude, like it'd be cool if you got in the arena and I'd help you. Every single person that's active in the arena, yourself included, has been like, I would love to help you learn how to do arenas.
Yeah.
And
Yes, that's the community. It is the least toxic community on the server. It's some of the best PvP, and the reason is because it's everybody dies. So like nobody, you cannot start arena without dying, and everybody wants more people to duel so that there's more content. And so it's like, and no one really talks shit. Like you never see two people that duel like really talk shit because it can go either way once you're at a certain level, pretty much for the most part.
sure.
So it's just fun, and yeah, I encourage anybody that wants to get into PvP to duel because that'll make you better. And anybody pretty much will help you. There's not really a whole lot of duelers, if any, that are dicks. So
Yeah. So, I mean, day one, person wanting to get into PvP, what would your suggestion be? Would it be go straight to the arena? I mean, what
yeah,
would you think?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say like go to the PvP channel or if it's too intimidating, reach out to somebody, but say, hey, like I'm new to the server. I want to get better and learn how to be good, and I want to learn how to duel or whatever. That's exactly what I would say. It's gonna make you better in every aspect of the game. You could do whatever you want when you're not learning that stuff. Other aspects of the game, enjoy it. But if you want to be a better PvPer, like arena is the surefire way. Like there's nobody that is a really good arena player that like sucks in other aspects of the game. Most people that are dominant in the arena are dominant even outside of other things like field PvP. Some of the best duelers are the best PKs, or they're the best. Some of the best farmers, or there's like this guy Nitro, who's a really good dueler. He's like one of the best on the ocean.
Yeah.
So it translates.
Yeah. For me, I want to get better at interrupting, and I want to learn weapon
That,
timers.
yeah, that's the number one way, my man. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It's very difficult to win a duel without understanding when to swing your weapons and when to interrupt and stuff, and that's what arena will teach you. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to help. I know Blaine's gonna be like frothing at the mouth when he listens to this. He asked me what I was doing down here with you, and he's like ask him about a time that I PK'd him in ossuary. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's probably killed me. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I think I could be wrong, but I feel like I was doing a team app. I'm pretty sure this is him, but I was doing a team app on Pwnstarr in my team app Echo, and he came in, and I recalled out, and I switched over to my red bonbons, and I came back on bonbons, and he was talking shit between casting the spells, and it was just like, this guy's fucking good. Like, what can I say?
Yeah.
And yeah, he got me obviously, and he got the team app, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. I think that's him. Might be wrong.
I
It's
yeah,
it's
I'd be surprised if it was. He's not he's like he's too innocent for this game. He's a super nice
Okay.
guy. He never talks shit to anybody,
Okay. Probably
and
wasn't then.
yeah, he's actually he's probably like one of the best people I've met on this game. He's actually a really good dude. You know, me,
Yeah.
I say like fuck you to people that aren't willing to like get better or even try. Like I just write them off completely, and Blaine's like, no, like no matter how many times you you choose to be a shitty player, I will teach you like no matter what, or I'll help you no matter what. So he's a better man than me. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, you definitely got to be a good guy to want to stick a bunch of people in a channel and coach them how to do like literally the
yeah,
most competitive part of this game.
yeah. I think he had that spirit. You know, he was a professional athlete at one point in life,
Uh-huh.
and so he's applied that mentality to dueling, which is why he's gotten so good so fast. And then he like he wants to pass that on. So I think it's just like comes with the territory of being the best at something, and that's like the mentality that he's taken towards it. So I think that's
Awesome.
why he's like that. He's a good dude. So if somebody talks shit to you, like probably not him.
Well, it
Probably
wasn't like,
I would say probably me, but
yeah,
I don't PK.
sure. I guess I don't know who it was, but I mean, it wasn't like, fuck your mother.
Sure,
Anything,
sure, 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 sure,
just
sure, sure,
yeah.
sure, sure.
But yeah, but anyway, so like, what's your personal goal in Outlands, if you got one? I mean, maybe it's just come in here, have a good time in the arena and fights, keep throwing out videos. I mean, what kind of goal you got?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't really have a long-term goal or something I'm looking to do. You know, like I said, I got in this game because um after my family went to bed, you know, I at first I like learned another language. Like I've been working on Spanish for a few years,
Nice.
and like also working on like side projects. But eventually, like I got to the point where so worn out after like working all day and then serving my kids in the evenings or taking them to music or art class or all the other stuff that we do with them, that like I kind of just got like I just needed something. Some people watch like reality TV. For me it's UO. I kind of like at night just pulling up the game, dueling a little bit, PvPing a little bit, kind of chilling out and then going to bed. So that's kind of what it is for me. I think maybe when my kids get older, and they start staying up later at night, that we will stay up and do different projects or stuff together, like or play
Sure.
games together. That's what I envision. So who knows how many more years I will be around here. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, some version, whether it's Outlands or some new version, will be out there when your kids graduate and go to college, and you're sitting
Uh,
there at 9 o'clock again, going, "What am I gonna do now?"
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right about that. So that's actually foreshadowing. I probably will be back after they move out, but there probably will be another long break coming up. But yeah, I don't think they'll ever see me. They've never seen me play this game. My wife has no idea I play this game.
That's
Um,
funny.
that's that that's how little I play it. So I mean, obviously, I play pretty much when she goes to bed or intermittently,
Yeah,
like when I'm working or something like that. But obviously, little enough to where she has no idea.
sure.
Not that it matters.
It,
Not that it
it's
matters. It's just not
it's not a
important.
big deal of your life that like the whole
Right.
family knows. Like, Ansem's gonna go do some arenas. Leave him alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, okay, so here's something. I like to ask everybody these next three questions, but if you could make a suggestion to Outlands, to Owen, Luthien, whoever, and they had to do it, like they can't say no, what would it be?
Yeah. Easy. Remove bars again.
Yeah,
That makes the game. It makes the game shitty. You don't have to do it for the people out there PKing or whatever, or for people farming, but for people that are engaged in consensual competitive PvP, factions PvP events, please remove bars. It sucks. Like people wasding around clicking bars is brain dead gameplay. Add a catch mechanic, or something that punishes people for running. One of the things it's so I don't know if you know this or how much experience you have, but
it's interesting
this
you
is
say that as a Dexter, right? Because your
yeah.
whole defense is off screening.
But I'm playing a Dexter to like abuse these mechanics that are screwed up. You understand?
Okay,
So it's like but I don't want to play a Dexter. I think Dexing is silly, but I'm doing it because it's so screwed up here.
okay.
I want to play a mage here, but they're kind of messed up.
Yeah.
It's like I can 1v2, 1v3 as a Dexter. It's almost impossible to do it as a mage because even if I kill a person, and actually there's a guy, I'm sure everybody knows who he is, Pax in Anarchy. He
Yeah.
suggested mana refund on kill, which is a great idea because then you can actually like 1v2,
Wow.
1v3 somebody. If you dump all your mana and you kill that person, you get a refund. Now you can actually fight the second person. Whereas right now, if you 1v2, 1v3, and you actually kill somebody with all the odds stacked against you as a mage, whether you get an alky dump or whether you get a lucky swords hit, whatever the case is, you have no mana to do anything. So you have
Yeah.
to run. It's
Yeah.
shitty gameplay. And on this server, I don't know if you know this, but it is impossible to die running in a 1v1 unless you make big mistakes. So like unless
Yep.
you hit trees, unless you don't hit the keys right, like you
Yep.
can just run in a straight line and you'll never die,
Well, yeah, it's all about tiles and knowing where to
Yeah.
turn and cutoffs. And some people are good at the cutoffs, and most people aren't. But you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But but truly, I'm just saying, unless you make a mistake, you really can't die. So yeah, so I
Yep.
would say remove bars, add catch, and I don't know, maybe make it so that if you talk shit to somebody in a Discord, it puts you in a dual pit with them. I don't know.
That's funny. I like that. Talk
I'm
to
just I'm just joking about the last one, but yeah, removing bars and add catch would make this game a
you.
lot better. I mean, if you were able to stun somebody and your team had to actually stop and heal you,
Yep.
or if you had a way to stop somebody from running infinitely, it would make the game way better. So I doubt they're going to listen to this because I don't know about Luthien. I only assume, but I know for a fact Owen hates me, so I doubt he's going to listen to anything with my name on it. But if he does,
That might be even
please
more
feel.
reason to listen, though. Like.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, maybe.
That's great. Wait, have you ever played Sphere PvP?
I have not played it. I've seen
Yeah.
it. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
But but so does UO in general. So I don't
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, you never know till you play it. It's funny, man. The way the game looks, and just the little nuances about it. I've got a friend that this is literally the perfect game for him. Like, I've known this guy since middle school, right? And
hmm
we've played video games together pretty much our whole lives. Very close friend, very close friend, and he will not play this game because of the way it looks. And I'm like, dude, it's literally your game, man. We played so many games together. You just won't
yeah,
do it. Yeah.
yeah. I get it. It looks like shit, and the learning curve is super
Yeah.
high and stuff like that. So yeah, I've tried in the past. Not in a long time. Probably like 15 years. But when I was a kid and I was playing this game in high school, I tried to get like friends to play, and a lot of them couldn't even get past installing like the
Yeah.
client because it's complicated. You had to like to play free shards, you had to patch the official launcher to a certain point, but
Yeah.
stop before it went too far, and then you had to download a program to connect to a server, and then another program that was the assistant. Like the amount of involvedness just to get started playing was wild. And they've and
Yep.
they've all credit to Outlands, and this is the reason that they've been successful is because they made this single launcher, this custom world. Everything's
Yeah.
custom, like it, and it works easy. You download one thing, you press play. It's a way more modern experience. So go ahead.
I no, yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, they've really brought this 30-year-old game, you know, closer to 2025. It's and there's also a pretty big movement of people that are just tired of these AAA games making these cash grabs basically that
Right,
look beautiful, but then they play like shit, and
and they're
it's
in microtransaction hell with all
yep,
that stuff. Yeah,
all over
yeah,
it, man. And so
yep.
people are going back to these older games, and I think it's great when somebody's like, well, I don't know, man, I'm 22 years old and I just stumbled across this game. People were talking about it in general chat of New World or whatever, and it's
Right,
like,
right, right.
okay, cool, here we are, let's go. So
Totally.
you know, are
Yeah.
there any games? I mean, I know you said you really don't play other games, but I mean, are there other games that you're excited about?
Man, when I was a kid, I used to get the Game Informer magazine to the house. That's all I did was pour over like what cool games were coming out, when the
Yeah.
next like Grand Theft Auto and all this stuff. But I'm like I'm so old and I have I got so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
I really don't have the time to like see what's coming out. I actually find out through like UO Outlands because some
Yeah.
people go and play these other games like Marvel Rivals and I know there was a Dune MMO. I just don't have the time. I
Yeah,
not only not don't have the time to play, but I don't
desire.
have the time to. Yeah, I don't have the time to learn. So it's like this is the game I already know how to play. So this is the game that I play pretty much. I think if they made like another Elden Ring or something like that, that was just as good. I'd play that. That was the last game I played before. Right when I was starting to have kids, and that's probably the best game I've played in the last like 10 years. It was really good.
Yeah, yeah, that was overwhelmingly positive reviews, without a
Yeah.
doubt. That was a
Have you
great
never
game.
played? Have you never played?
Yeah, I played it a little bit, but man,
Okay.
here's what happens for me, and I've been a lot better about it. I've been playing a lot of other games, like I'm playing Borderlands right now and enjoying it and all that. But I, 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 I start playing a game and then some patch comes out for Outlands, and I'm like, oh, time to go play this, and it just that other game just gets pushed to the wayside, and maybe I return back to it, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Yeah.
I and not to say, I mean, this is gonna sound bad, but I mean, it's like the whole like I gotta do that content because I maybe need to make a video over it, which I've been better at just making videos of like that I want to make instead of what I feel obligated to make, which I went into that rut there for a while doing that, and I just wasn't having as much fun doing that, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Now I'm just enjoying the game and making content. I've been making little
Yeah.
PvP, not really just me PKing people,
Yeah. Yeah.
montages and enjoyed it.
Yeah. I like it. I watch it. I like your stuff too,
Yeah.
and I actually appreciate that you came into the PvP channel to advertise your tournament because I would have not known about it
Sure.
otherwise. So thank you for that. And it was actually a good tournament. There was actually a couple people in there that you said it was small, but I thought it was like 18 people or something. Like it
Yeah.
seemed like a lot of people,
Yeah.
which is like about as many that show up to normal tournaments on the server, and some people knew what they were doing. Some people played well. I just played better. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
It was cool. We're gonna do another one. I don't know when, but we'll do another one. Some of the irks learned about it short notice, and obviously they are gung ho about a Dexter PvP tournament. They'd be all about it. So I got quite a few
Totally.
people saying, "Ah, dang, I wish I knew about it." And it's like, well, I've been posting it for, but I
Yeah.
get it. It's
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can only see so much, right? So.
Sure. But
Um,
yeah, that's great.
So I asked it earlier, but just to follow suit, I mean, who should be the next person on here? I didn't ask, you said it, but I mean, you're
Oh
saying
yeah.
Blaine,
Yeah.
Floob, right?
Oh no. Bluber Bile, I think.
Bile, yeah,
Yeah. Will they come? Probably not. I think
sure.
Bile's one of the people that have made fun of me the most for going on UO podcast in general. And I don't know if Floob's that type of personality, but they're people that are around, are great players, have really good knowledge of the game, and
Yeah,
obviously have developed interesting takes on it. I will say, I'm not even talking shit, but I don't know if there are two people on planet Earth that have played more hours of Ultima Online than those two too. So,
yeah.
if truly across different shards and eras and servers and stuff like that, those are two of the best players. So I would say if you can get either of those guys to come on, convince them, that's who I would recommend.
There you go, man. I don't know though, dude. Just because some of the sweaty PVMers on this server with like 40 links unlocked. I don't know if you understand the time behind that, but I understand your
Yeah,
point. I'm
yeah,
joking around, but
yeah.
yeah. Um,
No, no, no. Yeah. No, I do know. That's actually a good point. I do know that there are some diehards that are on 30 links plus Redline and all these. Like,
yeah.
I guess like Matt was one of those people, right? Like he had all his aspects maxed out and maybe did before he quit. I don't know. He put a
It
lot. He put a lot of time into this game.
It's gotten a lot easier to get unlock links. Just like with codexes and some of the new player progression systems, it's gotten a lot easier too. Also, like time dungeon was just. I mean, that's where I think I did like my last 8 links there. I
Whoa.
was just doing probably 4 hours a week of time. Nah, maybe 6, but either way, like 4 to 6 hours a week of time dungeon, and it was. I mean, that was it. I had 2 groups of time that I was doing, and it was just like skyrocketing my links. Those last probably 8 links or so. And then boating, of course, is crazy. But
Yeah, that boating looks kind of neat, but I don't really have the time I don't know.
yeah.
I always make a joke. I tell people like if you ever see me in Time Waster Dungeon, dude, just know that I'm at the local homeless shelter with a bottle of wild turkey and I'm divorced, dude. I do not have the time, dude, to
Yeah.
go to Time Dungeon for sure. So
I mean, you can't, the beauty in what we talked about early on of UO is that in most aspects of the game, you can, recall in to where you want to be, have some fun,
right.
and recall out, 2 minutes max, right? Because you
Yeah,
might have
yeah,
a PvP flag, right?
right.
But, those two pieces of content you cannot leave within a moment's notice.
Right.
You're out in the ocean somewhere. You're going to lose your boat if you decide you just have to log off. You're in time. You can die and leave everything and go, but it's not the same, So
Yeah.
that aspect of it's cool. But
Yeah.
you got anything else, man?
No, man. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad that we have similar views on other games and why they suck.
Yeah.
Farm like having a cracked game, the best in slot items and stuff, and I think we see eye to eye on a lot of that stuff. So, thank you so much for asking me to come and be on, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you were here, man. I I always just enjoy these, man. They're a lot of fun. It's not often you get to just sit down and talk one on one with somebody that plays this same 30-year-old game with you, and
Sure.
like you said, man. So I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Getting involved in that Dexter tournament and just making those videos too, man. I look forward to the next one. I always watch them. I'm like, damn,
Thank,
he's good.
well, thank you. Yeah, No Mana 8 coming out soon once I chop enough people up, and maybe if these folks ever fix some of these PvP mechanics, I can get back to some mana or all mana one. That's what I'd like to do. I prefer mage gameplay. So,
Yeah, I hear you. Awesome. Well,
all right, man.
all right, man. I'll catch you later, and everybody else, Pwnstarr Gaming out.